Coming up on the January 28th edition of Sports Extra, it's painful, but we have to talk about it. We'll review the highs and lows of the NC State game.
And it's only January, but he already has a job lined up for after graduation. And no, it isn't at Bank of America or Wells Fargo.
And for this Tar Heel father and daughter, talent really does run in the family. Sports Extra starts
right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
19-2. That's Coach Roy Williams' record versus NC State since he came back to Chapel Hill. Hello and welcome to the January 28th edition of Sports Extra. I'm Madison Way.
And I'm Allie Massione, but that second loss came this weekend. Sports Extra's Mike Rodriguez spoke to some State fans about their expectations and even stuck around for the game.
I'm expecting C.J. Leslie to drop 36, and I don't know, Lorenzo Brown drop 25, T.J. Warren drop 22, and they just win by 25.
I'm guessing 85-69 with C.J. getting 27.
I'm thinking 86 to 69 right now.
The Wolfpack played with the same confidence as its fans, beating the Heels by 8, but it was much worse than that.
Well, in my opinion, there's not a lot I can say. It was a butt kicking is what it was.
State outscored the Heels by 20 in fast break points, a strength of Coach Roy Williams' teams.
We wanted to try to emphasize sprinting back on defense, and that's the thing we talked about yesterday, talked about today, so I didn't do a very good job of coaching, getting our guys ready.
The Heels weren't ready to stop junior guard Lorenzo Brown, who led all scorers with 20 points, and who was one of 5 players to score in double figures for State. It wasn't all bad for UNC. Sophomore guard P.J. Hairston scored 19 points in 17 minutes off the bench. Sophomore forward James Michael McAdoo expected a big game from Hairston and the rest of the bench.
I think they played good. I mean, I don't consider PJ a bench player. You know, he's been here so long. I mean, he's a veteran, but I feel like guys like Bryce really came in and helped. Joel played phenomenal, and guys like JP come in and bring good energy.
The entire Heels bench brought something to the table, as the subs outscored the starters in front of a Wolf-packed house. In Raleigh, I'm Mike Rodriguez.
Well, just talking about Marcus Page, he had 4 assists, 3 turnovers, not a ratio I like to see coming from the jersey number 5, but then he let Lorenzo Brown walk all over him, so much so that I thought he was showing off for NBA scouts. And then Marcus Page was 2 for 11 and 1 for 5 beyond the arc. You're called a point guard. You need to be getting points either through shooting baskets or through getting assists. Just saying.
Well, a little harsh there, Madison, but every cloud does have a silver lining. McAdoo with the double-double. He had 13 points and 11 rebounds on Saturday. And P.J. Hairston did show up and perform last minute with those clutch threes. It was just too little, too late. On that note, let's talk about P.J. Hairston a little bit more. He's this week's Player of the Week. The sophomore guard scored 34 points in the Heels' 2 games this week, hitting more than half of his shots from downtown. And who can forget this monstrous dunk against the Yellow Jackets last Wednesday? Boom shakalaka. All those points came in very little amount of time. Hairston played only 17 minutes in each of this week's game. It looks like Coach Williams will just have to find PJ more playing time.
And it's been a while since State beat Carolina in basketball. How long? Time for this week's Hidden Stat. It's been 6 years, in fact, before Saturday State's latest win versus the Heels came in 2007. Might not seem like that long ago, but that was 13 consecutive victories for the Heels against their in-state rival. Never mind. What did the world look like back in 2007? Well, Beyonce's Irreplaceable was the #1 song in the country. The iPhone, no, not the iPhone 5, was still months away from its release, and Stomp the Yard was topping the box office charts.
At any UNC home game, you'll see a lot of fathers with their sons at the Dean Dome.
But when father and son don't come to watch, they come to work. Julian Caldwell explains.
Junior Denzel Robinson is in his first year on UNC's varsity basketball team, but he's hardly intimidated by the environment. That's because his father, Steve Robinson, has spent 10 years as an assistant coach at UNC, and Denzel has grown up around college basketball.
It's much more fun because I can get away with a few things that other guys can't.
But sometimes Denzel's lifelong experience around college basketball means people expect more of him. Denzel was born in 1991 while his dad was an assistant coach at Kansas under Roy Williams. That was during the Jayhawks' Final Four run.
So I always call him, he's our NCAA tournament baby. So, I guess deep down inside, I kind of thought that maybe he'll attach himself to basketball.
Denzel is the only one of 4 siblings to play basketball at the collegiate level like his dad did. That's brought father and son close together, but also means they've bumped heads a few times.
Went through some rocky time periods. I didn't think he was going to stay with basketball, and I didn't know if I wanted him to stay with basketball.
Denzel admits he sometimes didn't listen to his father's advice, but now that he's part of the team, he's glad he didn't always ignore his dad.
I'm very happy that I decided to listen to you now, sooner than later, and I'm enjoying every experience of this, and you have been a great father and a great coach, and I really appreciate everything you've done for me in my life so far.
And when Denzel doesn't take advice, Coach knows to take it personally.
I would come in and say, Denzel, I'm a college coach. I see this every day. I work with some of the best players. I said, I just don't understand why you don't listen. He said, well, because you're dad first.
And that's how it should be. In Chapel Hill, I'm Julian Caldwell.
You can watch Coach Robinson, Denzel, and the rest of the Heels take on Virginia Tech Saturday at noon in the Smith Center.
Robinson and the Heels lost their battle against NC State, but another Tar Heel has a more important battle again. ESPN anchor Stuart Scott announced on Twitter that he's battling cancer for a 3rd time. He said on Twitter, "C reared its head again, chemo every 2 weeks, but I'll still work out, still living strong." Scott successfully battled cancer in 2007 and 2011. If you were wishing for a miraculous last-minute basketball comeback on Saturday, you got your wish.
Just one day too late and by a different team. The women's basketball team seemed to be doomed after the Miami Hurricanes sank this 3 and sent UNC's Latifah Coleman to the floor, but don't count the Heels out just yet. UNC closes the gap with a couple of made free throws, and it's a tied game with less than 12 seconds on the clock. Here we go. Brittany Roundtree's gonna grab the rebound. She's gonna power down the court, and then she passes it off to Danielle Butts, who hits the buzzer beater. The win puts UNC at 7-1 in the ACC and 19-2 overall. Danielle Butts. Danielle, tell me about hitting that last-minute buzzer beater. That must be pretty exciting for you.
Yeah, really was. Great emotion, great feeling. Actually, one of my first career buzzer beaters. Kind of overwhelming, the feeling.
And then to have the team come rush the court for you, and tell me about that moment.
It was crazy because after I shot the ball, I blinked my eye, and as soon as I opened it, everybody was bum rushing me. So it was like, oh! So it was it was a great feeling. Great to experience that with my team and feel like the excitement and feeling feeding off the adrenaline.
Now, with less than 20 seconds on the clock, you threw the ball out of bounds. How did you come back after that turnover to score the game-winning jumper?
I just had to erase it. Don't dwell on it, because if I would have dwelled on it, it would have threw me off. So I was like, okay, D, okay, that's in the past. Got to work on the next possession. Just keep fighting and keep hustling.
And you guys always talk about mental toughness with the team, so obviously that's a good example. And then you guys played Maryland last week and then had to come back from that. So how did you guys prepare between those 2 games to kind of shake that off?
Well, we broke down film and everything. All got together, just talked about key things to bounce back. And as far as our mentality, we stepped it up a notch and we just kept fighting and never gave up. So I think that helped a lot. Great hustle plays, defensively and offensively, just everybody as a whole just wanted to win. So I think that helped a lot.
And what are your personal goals and team goals for the rest of the season?
Just contribute, even if it's a little amount, as long as my team has a positive outcome, that's all that matters. Becoming a better leader, also just helping people make sure they understand the game, as well as me understanding the game, and just making sure everybody together, as collectively together, gets better.
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us once again. Congratulations on that win.
Thanks.
It's not a three-peat, but a 23-peat.
That's what these ladies are shooting for. We'll explain next on Sports Extra.
don't win unless we work together. It's how we play our best. It's how we survive on the field.
Now that same teamwork can save 13 million people
affected by the famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Go to this site
and forward the facts to everyone you know. The more people who know,
the more money we can raise.
And the more money we raise,
the more people we can help.
Because saving lives doesn't take a lot.
It just takes a lot of us.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
Lacrosse team outscored Denver 13-12 in the first scrimmage of the season on Saturday. Denver scored the first goal of the morning, but the Tar Heels answered and maintained the lead for the rest of the game. The offense dominated the first half, scoring 6 goals, and the Heels were up by 2. In the third quarter, the Tar Heels had back-to-back goals in less than a minute to put the game on ice. Senior captain Marcus Holman, number 1 here, led the team with points with 2 goals and 2 assists. Holman is a 2013 preseason first-team All-American and has already been drafted to play professional lacrosse. And here with us now in the studio, Marcus Holman. Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
So let's talk about the draft a little bit. You went to the Ohio Machine, 12th pick overall. Are you excited about that? What were your thoughts?
Yes, it's very exciting. Obviously, the Major League Lacrosse is kind of different where they draft you before you actually play your senior season. So first and foremost, I'm looking forward to the spring with my UNC team, but moving on, it'll be exciting to join the Ohio Machine.
Knowing that you've already been drafted to play professional lacrosse after this season, how will that affect your approach for the rest of the season as a Tar Heel?
I'm definitely just trying to cherish every moment I'm out in the field and in the locker room with my teammates. The seniors and I are trying to make it a special last spring, and we really sacrificed a lot and put a lot of hard work into preparation for this season.
So the team's been ranked 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th by a bunch of different lacrosse publications, but where do you see the team?
I know we try not to put too much emphasis on preseason rankings and whatnot. I know our team has developed a lot through the fall and into this preseason, and our freshmen are adapting nicely. We have a couple guys that are going to have big impacts on our team, and like I said, we're working hard, as I'm sure every other team is, but hopefully we can work on the intangibles that will put us over the top when it comes to game time.
This is your second year as captain. You're the first solo captain of the men's lacrosse team since 1990. What are your responsibilities as a team leader?
It's exciting being a leader. It's a lot of responsibility, but at the same time, I have a great group of guys surrounding me. The seniors, like I mentioned before, really done a great job helping me out, making decisions and whatnot. And I think, while I may be the only captain, I think we have a lot of leaders in this team, and it's important for our development for the future.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
From one team that's about to start its season to another that's celebrating a national championship. Or is it? Janelle Davis has the story.
For the UNC women's soccer team, winning a national championship is nothing new. This fall, the team won its 22nd national title. And Crystal Dunn says the team already has its sights on next season.
Coming off of a national championship is a great feeling, but we're not taking a rest and we're getting after it. And waking up early, we're really acting like as if we didn't win last year.
By 7:45 a.m., the team is already on the field practicing, drill after drill. It becomes clear there's no such thing as an off season for the Tar Heels.
We want every kid to achieve her potential. So everything we do in the spring is to make sure the players individually improve. And so, we chart everything, we rank everything.
Literally, every drill is counted, recorded, and ranked.
Haberlin climbing out of the 4th division as a goalkeeper.
Coach Dorrance believes everything should be a competition. After coaching the team to 22 national championships, his strategy speaks for itself. He's confident next season will add to the Tar Heel dynasty.
We're certainly going to have a lot of depth. We're going to be fast as lightning. We've got a great attitude in training. We've got excellent leadership. We've got huge talent coming back, but also huge talent coming in.
Dunn is also eager for a repeat next season.
It's a great feeling knowing that, we accomplished what we did last year, but I mean, it's not enough to just sit in bed all day and like just think about that memory. We have to really get up and work hard and keep going after it so we can win another one next year.
Championship number 23 would have a special significance. That's a very important number for Tar Heel fans. In Chapel Hill, I'm Janelle Davis.
23 is, of course, Michael Jordan's number. One member of the national championship team has moved on. Former Tar Heel midfielder Amber Brooks signed with FC Bayern Munich.
The women's gymnastics team fell to number 14 Maryland on Saturday. The East Atlantic Gymnastics League rival hosted the dual meet where the Terps outscored the Tar Heels 195.3 to 194.425.
It's their last time competing at home, and these seniors are making a splash.
UNC and Duke battle it out in the water, next on Sports Extra.
Escucha Smokey antes de tratar.
Solo tú.
No juegues con fósforos, no juegues con fuego. Fuego. No hay nada para tu pobre conejo asustado a un pobre ratón sin casa en que vivir. Si el hermoso bosque es lo que deseas, no juegues con fósforos, no juegues con fuego.
Solo tú puedes prevenir los fuegos forestales.
¡Fuego!
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad
One more
today.
time. Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Athletics programs at UNC have produced a number of great champions. A lot of them have had big careers and are now retired. Sometimes, though, their children take over.
Hurdler Alan Johnson became legendary with his Olympic gold medal in Atlanta in 1996, and his daughter Tristine seems to be running in his footsteps. Theo Monval tells us more.
It might be hard to make a name for yourself when your last name is Johnson and your dad is an Olympic gold medalist and 7-time world champion. But Alan Johnson's daughter Tristine is making her own name. In 2010, she joined the UNC track and field team just like he did 21 years before.
My father has definitely been a huge inspiration for me. He used to take me to track meets when I was younger. Also, always seeing him win his meets was a big inspiration. I wanted to be just like him.
However, Alan Johnson says he never pushed his daughter to become an athlete.
I think it was something that was a natural passion of hers. One of the biggest things that I tried not to do was, steer her towards track just because I did it.
Tristine Johnson is a jumper and a sprinter. Her first year, she was one of the only 2 freshmen in the whole country who made it to the NCAA Outdoor Championships. She's done well really early, and her father thinks that she still has a lot of room for improvement.
I think she could be really good. I think she could perform a lot better than she has so far. It's just going to be up to her to decide that she's going to work and do that.
Tristine would love to become a pro, but she knows she has to get her degree first. Her father came back to UNC last semester to finally finish his degree. She knows she has to do it the other way.
The degree has to come first. The degree is the most important thing. There's nothing that you can really do in this world, or not very many things, without a degree.
In addition to her all-important studies, she'll keep training hard, running fast, and lifting weights right at the same spot every day in front of the picture of her dad at the Loudermilk Center for Excellence. In Chapel Hill, I'm Theo Manval.
She's not there yet, but it's possible that Tristine may make it to the 2016 Olympic team. Who knows where she'll be 3 years from now?
But we do know where her teammates were this weekend. The track and field team took it to the road for the first time this season, braving the snow at Virginia Tech. It was a successful weekend for a few of our Lady Tar Heels, including Annie Lahardy's victory in the women's mile, and All-American Leanne Farber's win in the women's 3,000-meter race. Brianna Hudson hopped and skipped her way to second in the triple jump, and Ariel Roberts earned third in the high jump, clearing almost 6 feet. On the men's side, AJ Hicks took second in the shot put, and Chad Pierce earned a victory in the pole vault. The Heels will head to New York next weekend for the New Balance Collegiate Invitational.
The NCAA recently withdrew funds from an annual scholarly forum that fosters research about college athletics. Dr. Richard Southall co-authored an article published in the Huffington Post entitled "The NCAA's Attack on Academic Freedom." Dr. Southall spoke with Will Reimer in our satellite studio.
In many ways, the national office's purpose, besides governing competition, is to generate revenue to support the 88 championships that they have, and through the men's basketball tournament, to help support what I consider to be, and they have defined in the NCAA's own collegiate model, which the national office has defined, as the college sport enterprise. And the purpose of the college sport enterprise is to generate revenue to then transmit that revenue generated to all the other sports that don't generate revenue. So I think this is a clear indication that the NCAA national office is acting as a trade association for the college sport enterprise and not supporting the educational mission. And in fact, I do think that this is an attack on academic freedom because they didn't like the research that some scholars were engaging in.
And in the article, you said it appears the NCAA's national office's tolerance for academic freedom is running rather low. So in your opinion, what kind of implications does this intolerance have, or lack of tolerance have, on the colleges and universities that make up the NCAA?
The NCAA seems to be acting like a trade association that is most interested in protecting its revenue streams and not acting in an educational fashion.
And, the article also mentioned the issue of improper conduct during NCAA investigations, which you kind of touched on a little bit. So in light of Carolina's academic investigation, what kind of questions does this raise to you?
Well, I think one of the issues that needs to be addressed eventually when we deal with NCAA investigations is the fundamental lack of provision of due process to anyone who is investigated by the NCAA. I think this is definitely a wake-up call for members to decide, is the NCAA serving its function? Is it still an educational entity, or has it crossed the line and it's more concerned with protecting itself than serving its function that it was originally intended to be?
That was UNC professor Richard Southall in our satellite studio. Saturday was a big day for rivalries. No, State fans, we still aren't talking about UNC and NC State.
Of course, we're talking about Duke and UNC. On Saturday, both Carolina's swimming and diving teams came out on top against the Duke Blue Devils. It was the last chance for 12 seniors to swim in Corey Natatorium, and the pre-meet ceremony had them pumped up to win. The Carolina women won 10 of their 16 events. Senior Stephanie Eisenring cruised to a win in the 200-yard freestyle. The UNC men's teams won 12 of 16 events. Senior captain Brett Nagel won 2 of his 3 events, swamping Duke in both the 1,000 and 500-yard freestyle.
To come in and on our senior day have the meet that we had today, we swam really fast and beat them by quite a bit. It's not something bad to walk out on and say that you beat up on Duke before you're done.
You gotta love it. Lecture halls aren't on campus, the only place on campus, by the way, where you can get a history lesson.
We'll take you inside a place dedicated to Carolina victories, coming up on Sports Extra.
Meet up with friends, but you can't seem to get anywhere quickly. You don't want your friends to be annoyed, so you text. You're on your way. "5 seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting while driving. Make sure you get where you're going."
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. "What's up, bro? Nice shirt." Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Can you consent with me? Imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite, unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time. One book can be the first thing that helps to change a life. Book people unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
The men's basketball team will look to bounce back from its loss to state. Tuesday, the Heels take on Boston College at 9 p.m. in Massachusetts. Saturday, Carolina plays Virginia Tech at noon in the Smith Center.
Can't get enough Carolina basketball? Kiera Palmer looks at a special place that's helping us all get our basketball fix year-round.
Where else can you travel down memory lane and relive some of Carolina basketball's best moments? No place other than the Carolina Basketball Museum. Fans such as Tim Isaac travel to the Tar Heel State to see the legendary Carolina items.
You can learn more about basketball at this museum than any other museum in the world.
Probably most importantly for our fans, so it's a place they can come and relive the great moments of basketball that they remember from their childhood, remembering special moments during games and championships and former players, that kind of things.
When the fans visit the museum, they first see a short feature that encapsulates what Carolina basketball means.
You go into the rest of the museum and you've got Coach Smith's locker case that has all of Tyler Hansbrough's trophies and former jerseys.
A real highlight for many visitors is a letter to Michael Jordan.
The most popular item we have in the museum showcases a letter from Coach K over at Duke. It reflects his disappointment that he was not going to Duke and was instead coming to Carolina.
From MJ's famous rejection of Duke to titles and trophies galore, there's one highly requested piece of Carolina history you won't see.
We did win the Carrier Classic against Michigan State. The trophy for that is in the basketball offices, so we don't have that trophy.
Despite that minor disappointment, Isaacs had a common reaction.
This is the mecca of college basketball right here.
Reporting from the heart of Carolina basketball's past and future in Chapel Hill, I'm Kiera Palmer.
The museum opened its doors on this day, January 28th, 5 years ago.
And each week we'll be highlighting a moment from this week in Carolina sports history. January 27th, 1911 marked the first men's varsity basketball game at Carolina. Under track and field coach Nat Cartmel, the Tar Heels beat Virginia Christian 42-21, finishing the season at 7-4, and the winning tradition of Carolina basketball began.
That does it for this edition of Sports Extra.
Thanks for watching. Good night.